Okay, I forgot to start the character. Everything's fine. Hello, Vukashin, I think is how you said to pronounce that. Hello, Aora. Hello, Alyssa. Hello, Serrated Skies. Hello, Krista, and hello, Deuterium. Welcome. That's not, first of all, that's not the title, that's the thumbnail. Secondly, I still firmly believe that the Zweihander is extremely overrated, if only because of its ease of access. I haven't done a full Greatsword run in a long time. I've definitely used the Zweihander more, but I also don't remember the Zweihander very well. Hello, Falia, welcome. I'm trying to think last time I used the Greatsword. I think I noticed that the Crestfallen Merchant pulled it in one of my early playthroughs, and then did a playthrough with it within my first, like, 20. And that was the only time I ever used it. Hello, Lilith. Welcome. The Ein Hunter. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm capable of using any weapon that takes more than 2 hands. And, trying to think what would best fit. I guess short sword. The short sword isn't great. Long sword is slightly better. I'm thinking that I'm just gonna kill the Baronite Knight, because normally what I would do is get 10 humanity and then grab the Gold Serpent Ring and try to get the drop from the Baronite Knight, but because the weapon is sold in Sen's Fortress anyway, if I'm clipping into Sen's Fortress to get the Gold Serpent Ring, I might as well just buy the weapon at that point. So if I don't get it from the Baronite Knight with just a few humanity, then I'm just gonna buy it. You can one-hand every weapon in the game other than bows and crossbows. Those are the only exceptions. As long as you have enough strength, obviously. And I think the Greatsword is 32 strength. Why are you jumping all over the place? Do this. It's either 32 or 28. I don't know. It's a lot of strength, and you have to have a lot of strength to be able to one-hand it. I have water. You can one-hand crossbows. I didn't know that, actually. I haven't used crossbows very much. Oh. Don't worry, I have water. I will be drinking water my normal amount for this stream. If you are not in the Discord, or didn't catch the conversation earlier, I said that if I have to go pee by the time we get to Tarkus, I will, or the Iron Golem, I will specifically let Tarkus solo the Iron Golem. Okay. I guess I could get the humanity from, Pate. Not Pate. What? Why can't I remember his name? I did a whole thing murdering him. The evil guy over in the place. In Firelink. What is his name? Anyway, him. I could kill him to get a little bit more humanity, but I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, Miracle Guy. No, I can't actually. That would be an impossible challenge run for me. Unfortunately, progesterone does a number on my bladder. Yeah, Petrus. That's his name. I don't know why I couldn't remember his name. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm allowed to say that one out loud, Krista. HRT hard mode, no. Usually, estrogen is a buff to video game performance, but this is the one exception. Actually, it's not even the it's not even the estrogen, it's only the progesterone that does that. It's because you don't drink any water, deuterium. You don't, it's not that it didn't do that to you, it's that you didn't notice. Not memorable besides his bowl cut, that's fair. I don't know, I did a whole speed run killing him as quickly as possible. Yeah, I got very lucky with the fact that I don't have to take any anti-androgens, because otherwise I'd probably have to pee like 4 times a stream. But my testosterone levels are actually super low. I think last time I checked, or well, I got a blood test like last week, and my number was 31, with only estrogen and progesterone. So I got very lucky with that. Prog has a lot of different effects for a lot of different people. For me specifically, it does make me need to pee more often. I am drinking water, don't worry. Prog is a wild card, it's true. All the girls who didn't get a period from starting progesterone are lucky. I don't know. I don't think lighting a bonfire sets your spawn in this one. I feel like I should know that by now. Excuse me. Yeah, I hate blood work too. Actually, when I was getting it, I was like looking away, and my phlebotomist asked if I was okay. And I told her that I just couldn't look at it, and she's like, yeah, I'm the same way. Which is really funny. I wasn't expecting to hear that from a phlebotomist of all people. I want to kill the crystal lizard. Case of chunk. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes sense why it does it, but it's still unfortunate that I got tiny bladder and periods both from progesterone. A lobotomist? I wish. Yeah, I hate needles. I can't look. I get a panic attack if I do. Oh, I don't have to. The last couple of runs I've done have been with Twinkling Titanite weapons. I don't have to farm for moss this time. That's awesome. Honestly, if it didn't give me a panic attack, I would absolutely look, because it is really interesting to see. But like, I just can't. Yeah, it's not even the blood for me. It's just like seeing a needle be inserted into my vein. Yuck. Yeah, I got super lucky with my natural hormones. I don't know, well, a couple people asked me if I was on hormones before I started hormones. Like looking back at it, I definitely did not look like I was on hormones, but as far as I know, they were genuine questions. But I don't think it was that dramatic, at least. Yeah, Elden Ring will do that to you. Also, Jesus. Immense skill issue on my part. I've been using the Jagged Ghost Blade recently, which is a very, very fast weapon compared to this. And my brain has just refused to switch out of fast weapon mode. It's fine, I'll get used to the Greatsword. It kind of sucks that there's not like a Great Mace that these guys can drop instead of the Greatsword and Great Axe. No Greatsword, gotta go buy it. The Great Club is slated for not next month, but the month of polls after that. Because you told me specifically to not put Giant Dad and the Great Club on the same poll. So, next month is going to be Giant Dad along with a few other weapons, and then the month after that is Great Club along with a few other weapons. And like, the way that I set up my polls, I mentioned this on Discord, but I don't think I've mentioned this like on a stream or whatever. I set them up specifically so that one is like the obvious heavy hitter that's probably going to win, but also interspersed with other weapons that I want to use anyway. And the 3 times that it's paid off has been there was what was the first one? I think it was the Channeler's Trident. It got the vast majority of votes on the poll that I did it in. The Moonlight Greatsword one. And then the only one that I actually did a video for where I used that fact was that Titanite catch poll, because that got over 1,000 votes. So obviously I had to put that in the thumbnail. But it's not like, you know, I specifically add other weapons, of course, that I would want to use, so it's not like I'm just trying to do it for engagement bait, but it makes me feel more justified in putting weapons that no one else would vote for. Yeah, I think exploration in Dark Souls 1 specifically, as well as 2, is really, really fun. And honestly, I would say the same. I wouldn't have said the same for Dark Souls 3. Like, you had asked me, I don't know, not even a year ago. But after doing that 8-hour playthrough, I definitely changed my mind on that. Or the 8-hour video. Definitely changed my mind on that. I've been enjoying exploration a lot more in Dark Souls 3 because of that. Oops. Heal issue. Come on. Dark Souls card revoked. No. It's okay. I got it second try. Oh, Googling lore is the worst sin you could commit in your first Dark Souls playthrough. Yeah, Bandit's really good. I would say Bandit is... Depending on... okay, let me think. Without leveling stats, and not including Pyromancer, because obviously I would say Bandit is probably the best starting class. Just for like the beginning of the game. Thief is also pretty good if you know what you're doing. If you don't, Thief is really, really hard to start with. Okay. It has the highest strength at least. Which is why I'm using it for this run, because I need an absurd amount of strength for the Greatsword. But I think it has both of those as well. The heater shield, I mean, I guess. The problem with most starting classes is that their gear is insanely easy to get extremely quickly. The only exceptions to that are like Cleric, where the mace is down in the catacombs, and then the Thief, because the Bandit's knife is only a drop from the Thieves, right? And then, so most of the time you're just like going in it for the stats. And in that instance, obviously, Bandit is just like probably the best choice, if not, I don't know, Knight maybe. And Knight starts with the armor too, which you would have to go to Dark Route for otherwise. I don't know, I would say Knight is the easiest to get to grips with in terms of playstyle, but best I would give to Bandit. Without like... I don't know, Cleric is pretty good too though, because you have that initial Faith boost, which gets you toward using like Sunlight weapon and stuff. No, you're thinking of the... I don't remember which one. Knight armor is definitely in the basin right next to the Hydra. Elite Knight is near Moonlight as well. Both Knight armors are in the basin. Or I mean, in Dark Route. Okay. Yeah, Warrior set. Probably. I'm gonna assume you're correct on that one. The only problem with Knight is it's probably the least versatile starting class. If you're not already experienced in like figuring out what playstyle you want to use. Because like you have the heavy armor, and you're already mid-rolling as soon as you go into it, you know? Rifle the Giants. No. I don't need a plus 15 before Iron Golem, that's not worth it. Right. Give me my weapon. How much is it, actually? 8,000.
Nothing at all.
And I also want some souls for Fight Knight. I'm just gonna use this other one as well. Yeah, I'll summon Tarkus. Fine. Um, I don't want to bank on
Go along. Try
getting
next
Watch Titanite from the Crystal Lizard, but this isn't going to give me enough, so I kind of have to... Oop. I don't know, I would argue, personally, I would argue that the Cleric is better for Paladins, just because you start with the Mace, which is an insanely good weapon for Paladins, off the bat, you know? As opposed to, I don't know, pretty much any other weapon, really, because the stagger potential off of it is just really
There
good,
you go. Another breakfast. The beauty.
on top of doing good damage on its own. And it's relatively fast. I should have got the cage key. Oh well. But I also really don't like using mid-roll builds just because they're slow. Like, that's genuinely the only reason I don't like using mid-roll builds. Just running around specifically is... Face is being silly. What's the requirement? Is 28. You need 10 dexterity! I didn't know that. Hello, Carl Gustav Young. Welcome. Easiest way to get souls right now... I don't know, I guess I could do more, but I don't want to. Have holes, since I want to get the Crystal Lizard anyway, I guess. Just, Thank you so much. I still like the headcanon that Marcus gets tossed through the window. I think that's way funnier. But falling off the rafters is also pretty good. Thank you, Krista. I still hold to the fact that you give me way too much money. Especially considering you said literally a few hours ago that you need to save money. Not even a few hours ago. But thank you. I appreciate it. I know 10 dex isn't that bad, but like, I didn't want to level dex. The Iron Golem tosses Tarkus. Picks him up and like chucks him. Well, I appreciate that at least, Krista, thank you. I mean, I don't know. It's... When I only use armor for fashion at this point, any points going into endurance, or endurance specifically going into protection feels wrong. Oh, thank you for being here, Vacation. Hope you sleep well. Sorry, I missed your message a little bit earlier. Yeah, the bingo board isn't done yet, is it? And we need some way to randomize what order the prompts are on the board. I didn't think they would come that far, to be honest. Hello, Eth, welcome. Yeah, poise tanking works way better in Dark Souls 1 than the other games, but to be fair, it does work pretty well in Dark Souls 2 as well. Dark Souls 3 is the main one where it just doesn't work because they completely changed how poise works, as opposed to just modifying it like they did with Dark Souls 2. Well, sure, but Realizing fights is fun for a first playthrough, especially. I spent so long on the Four Kings because I just didn't understand their moveset until I poise tanked them. I also, the very first time I ever beat Manus, I poise tanked them in New Game Plus, which I'm shocked even worked at all. I think I won first try that I tried poise tanking Manus, and it took me multiple years after that to actually like learn Manus, and that was in the Asylum items only video. Was the first time I really like learned Manus. What are you doing? How do you do that? Oh my god! Is that 1 HP? Dude, darn. can't believe I messed up parrying Havel. I mean, full damage probably is. I just like parrying more. I think it's more fun. Yeah, there are certain bosses that you just can't poise tank, true. But I don't know. For the ones that it does work with, it works really, really well. You just can't really rely on the strategy. Like, I think there are bosses that you wouldn't expect to be able to poise tank. Like, Bed of Chaos comes to mind. You can definitely poise tank Bed of Chaos. It makes the fight way easier. Assuming you don't get pushed by the branches, which is just kind of a prayer at that point. Large Titanite. That's unfortunate. I don't have a bone, do I? Okay. I will. Go get bone. Oh, but I can't get back from Firelink because I didn't get the elevator. Darn it. Whatever, I can do fire. Well, I can get a bone from Firelink. What am I thinking? That's fine. I know what I'm doing. Havel is hard to parry at first, but once you understand the parry timing, it becomes a lot easier, and I would argue that he's actually one of the easiest to parry once you learn how. Oh, you know, actually, I could buy a bone from this guy and then just do Death Clip to get the Ember since I need it anyway. Oh yeah, do you have Send Skip on there? I know you have... what was I doing? Bones. Oh, he doesn't sell bones. It's the... Is it the female ended merchant that sells bones? You have... Because I know you have a Depth Clip on there, but do you have specifically Send Skip? Okay, I need to be careful going through here because I will get obliterated if I'm not from experience. Hey, perfect. Ugh. Talk to Chester? Why would I talk to Chester? Oh god, everything's fine. If anything, I'm gonna kill Chester for his armor because it's funny. Does Chester sell something? Oh, does he sell bones? I did not know that. I don't think I've ever bought anything from Chester, actually. Hey, perfect. Very expensive. How much? Onward homes, indeed. Of course. I'm excited for the Great Axe run, not because I'm excited to use the weapon. I mean, I am excited to use the weapon, but I'm excited specifically because that run is immediately going to start with Depth Clip, and I think that's going to be funny. Hello, Zephyr. Welcome. Coming out swinging at Chester, I guess. That clip is fun. Very useful as well. I love this game without the glitches, but honestly, I think the glitches add an extra layer of it just being so much more fun. Like, Ocarina of Time is fun to me at this point because of the glitches, as opposed to Dark Souls, which is fun despite the glitches, but also the glitches are awesome. Honestly, once you understand how the character like falls off of edges and stuff, that's what becomes a lot easier. It's really just experience. I've only played Majora's Mask. Well, okay. I was gonna say I've only played it twice, but that's not true. I've 100%ed it twice. And then I beat it once for the swordless video, which is really fun. You really want to do that with Wind Waker, but then I have to learn hyper swimming and manual hyper swimming at that too. It's, Fire Sage plunge glitch? Do you mean the one where you like glitch through the elevator and do the plunging attack directly onto the Fire Sage demon to skip the lore vessel? Because that's only possible in Prepare to Die, right? Oop. Okay. Oh. Go grab the wolf thing. Oh my goodness. There we go. I haven't played Prepare to Die Edition vanilla in so long. Okay, I might die. No, we're fine. I would prefer to keep these souls. That dog doesn't fall. Prepare to Die edition. I mean, personally, I don't particularly recommend it, but I know a lot of people really, really like it over remastered for whatever reason. How much strength do I need to two-hand? Is this enough? Because I want to use most of my souls on wait. I think this time duping is warranted, to be honest. Just so I can actually get my weapon to a decent level. And then far, far over a decent level. I don't need that much. And should be more than enough, I think. Perfect. Honestly, the couple times that I have played Prepare to Die Edition, I played once on PC. Oh, you need fine. I played once on PC, and then once on Steam Deck, and I found the experience much better on Steam Deck because I didn't have the issue of like... Oh, I need a lot more than I thought I did. Because on Steam Deck, the 30 FPS isn't as noticeable because most games that I was playing ran at 30 FPS anyway. So I actually preferred playing Prepare to Die on Steam Deck. I don't know how many souls I need. 8,000 more should probably be enough. I know the damage isn't bad, but it's funny to get more. Like, think about how funny it'll be to two-shot the gargoyles. I think, am I mid-rolling still? No, okay. Probably gonna be a glass cannon run, but that's fine. But yeah, wasn't it? Doesn't it run even worse on the PS3 than the 360? I have no need for Havel's Ring. I am simply too powerful. It's so overkill. I love it so much. You're me, yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna get 27 strength and then not level up strength for the entire rest of the game. So I'll probably get quite a bit of... I'll get 28 so I can riposte. And I'll probably get quite a bit of vitality from there. Ouchie. Thank you for moving out of the way. I don't like glass cannoning Dark Souls 2, just because there are a couple bosses that I'm really, really bad at dodging, and it's 100% a skill issue on my part. I'm just not good at Dark Souls 2. Very polite hollow, yeah. Very happy about that one. Right, time to obliterate the gargoyles. I could have gone Quelaag first and gotten the tank stop cap. Oh, it's 3-shot. Oh. Maybe I can... Well, I definitely 2-shot this one. What about the R2? That is a stab. No, come back. I have a feeling this moveset is going to be really useful. It is hilarious to 2-shot the gargoyles, I agree. Yeah, the Greatsword is a normal weapon. I mean, it's just a giant slab of metal. There's nothing special or magical about it. Okay. Now I have to debate between going down to Quelaag and doing New Londo right now. No, I'm actually... I was thinking about using Power Within, but I specifically decided not to because the Greatsword is funny enough as it is. I actually might be able to get to Strength Soft Cap now. Do New Londo now? Okay. Bonk. Yeah, the enemies just get crunched while we're actually being cut. Ow. Hey, that was rude. Lightning Grease. Elden Ring Brain. Unfortunate. Big weapon is big. It's awesome. True, giant slabs of metal on their own are special and magical. I would. My, one of, or, Jesus, brain. My partner's at work, and I would drag her office chair over so that the cat could sit next to me, but the cat doesn't particularly like me very much. So, unfortunately, I cannot experience that bliss. I don't think I need those armored bones for anything, but I will grab them just in case. In Dark Souls 3 specifically, I definitely prefer Tree Trunk to Giant Slab of Metal, but in Dark Souls 1, I don't think I've actually... No, I've never used the Great Club. That's one of the few, like, very popular weapons that I've just never used. Okay. Telling me. Yep. Get plus 15 before Quelaag. This is the Greatsword. It's thinner in Dark Souls 1. It's thinner in Dark Souls 1 than it is in Dark Souls 2 and 3. And I think it looks better here, honestly. I really like the design of it in Dark Souls 1. But the Dark Souls 2 one is also very funny. And then the Dark Souls 3 one carries the Dark Souls 2 moveset, but completely changes it because of how much faster it is. What am I doing? For now, I guess. I don't know, I specifically don't like the Greatsword itself in Dark Souls 3, just because I don't feel like it fits the game with the moveset. But the Dark Souls 1 version, I think, would fit in Dark Souls 3 a lot better than the Dark Souls 2 version. But here we are. I do like the wide one. It is funny, and it is fun to use. I just think the skinnier one looks a little bit better, personally. The first time I saw it, it was very like, ugh. That's not the Greatsword. Because I had done my first Dark Souls 2 playthrough, which was done with the Greatsword, because of course. But, you know, over time, the thinner Greatsword has actually grown on me quite a bit. Excuse me. Please. Thank you. S-word. I don't know that I used the Greatsword in Elden Ring. I'm sure I did. I don't know. I used most of the Greatswords, at least. Or Ultra Greatswords. Personally, as someone who doesn't particularly love Elden Ring, I still prefer using Greatswords in Dark Souls 2, but... Or Ultra Greatswords in Dark Souls 2, Greatswords in Dark Souls 1. Yeah, VR Dark Souls would be an experience if only because of how absurdly large the weapons are. Actually, there are several mod packs for Blade and Sorcery that mod in the Dark Souls weapons, and they are absurdly large. Like, I tried to use Smo's hammer. It's so unwieldy. It's impossible to swing it because of how absurdly big it is. You just won't hit anything with it, with anything but the handle. It's very fun. Also very funny to realize how absurdly large the weapons actually are. There are also mods to add the Dark Souls maps into Blade and Sorcery, which is really, really fun to play with. Blade and Sorcery is a very good game. Would highly recommend if you have VR and haven't played it. Ward. To be fair, that is a funnier way of saying it. Ow. That was fine. Ah! No! Also, if you have VR, highly, highly recommend Moss. That's easily my favorite VR game. I think the VR really elevates the storytelling in a way that no other game, especially a flat screen game, could match. Just from personal preference, I think Moss is simply incredible. Books 1 and 2. Blade and Sorcery is also very fun. I don't remember what my first Elden Ring playthrough was. I think I got the Claymore really early. I think I was gonna use the Claymore. So I found the Lordsworn Greatsword in the Gatefront Ruins. And then I went down to Castle Morn and found the Claymore. I started using that. And then I very quickly replaced it with something, but I don't remember what. It depends. Because there is that program that can like let you play Dark Souls 3 in VR, right? But that one really isn't like I don't know. I tried to set it up and it didn't work super great just because I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. And I didn't have a good PC at the time, so I couldn't render Dark Souls 3 in VR very well. But like assuming it was something like that for Dark Souls 1, I don't think it would be super fun. But if there was like, you know, someone ported Dark Souls 1 to Blade and Sorcery and like added up all the enemies in the right places and everything, I would absolutely love that. Would be like Kingsfield. Yeah, I don't think there is a VR mod for Dark Souls 1 right now, unfortunately. I don't know, maybe eventually I'll try VR Dark Souls 3, but that's definitely not something that I would like be able to make a video for, if for no reason other than my head shakes a lot. I've noticed when I'm recording VR footage. Oh yeah, 15 days till Night Rain. Exciting. I'm planning on doing a day 1 challenge run with Spelunker and Aurora, I think. I think Aurora wanted to join us. So we'll see how that goes. But either way, I am very excited to play Night Rain. Yeah, this game has very, very good sound design. I've noticed that, like, I'll be listening to a Dark Souls video, and then they'll play, like, one random sound effect from the game, and I'll immediately know exactly what they're doing. It's very fun to be able to do that. Should I kill these guys? No. Not until I get the coal ember at least. I've been playing too much Dark Souls 3. I played it. I played Seamless Co-op with 2 different people and then completed an entire I hesitate to say challenge run because it wasn't a challenge run, but an entire playthrough the other day that I'm gonna make into a video. I've just been playing way too much Dark Souls 3. I don't know why. Soggy corpses on the floor tickled me so much. I mean, I had Elden Ring click for me a couple times where it's like, okay, I get it. Now I like this. And then I would keep playing it and then it would fall off for me. Like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to play this for a while. And then a few months later, I go back to it and it clicks for me again. I assume there's going to be a Dark Wraith on the stairs somewhere. Oh my god. So menacing. What if I do this? How did you survive? What? What? How did you survive? I'm baffled. Oh. That's fine. Wisp. I don't usually kill these Dark Wraiths, but I really would not mind getting an extra in the Titanite chunk. Just for brevity's sake, you know? I also really don't want to deal with the massive souls though, so I'm just gonna head and bonk indeed. Ow. That was very risky. If I had missed, I probably would have died there. Oop. Okay. I tried to parry and just immense skill issue. Soggy corpses sounds like a bad fan name. It does, that's true. Actually, speaking of Dark Souls 3, I feel like I keep going like back and forth on my opinion on that game, or with specific things in that game, because I do like the game quite a bit now, especially the level design, but I prefer the level design to the bosses, when I know most people like the bosses in that game more than the level design, or prefer it because of the bosses. But I really, really like the level design in Dark Souls 3. I think it was done... I hesitate to say that it was done well, but it does very much encourage the specific playstyle that it was built for. And it goes a lot better when you use that playstyle, and I've been having a lot more fun like that. But even the bosses that I don't particularly like, I had a decent time with in that run. Like, how do you say the sister in the DLC? 3-Day or something? I don't know. I don't usually like her, but I don't know. In this run, I actually had a good time. It feels like this probably sounds weird, but she feels like a faster version of Kalami to me. Like, you avoid all of her attacks by running away or by rolling backward, and it just works for all of her attacks perfectly well. Aside from the couple where you need to roll in so you can get some damage. And I think that's really interesting to notice, especially after coming out of Dark Souls 1, noticing that with Kalami. Or like Gale and Madir, I don't usually love them. I beat Madir first try, which I was very proud of myself for. And I beat Gale third try, which I think took the most tries of any boss in that run. No chunk. Unfortunate. Read. I know they say it in a cutscene. I just don't remember how they say it. Rita. Oops. I don't know. I feel like you don't really... If you want to memorize the levels in Dark Souls 3, I think it's harder than memorizing the levels in Dark Souls 1, just because, in Dark Souls 2, just because they don't have, like, anything distinct in them to tell you where you are easily. But if you don't care about memorization, they're by far the easiest to find your way through. I kind of had that experience where when I started playing Dark Souls 3, I loved it a lot. Partially because it was my first Soulsborne game. Partially because, I don't know, it's a good game, right? And then I played it more. I started liking it a lot less, especially than Dark Souls 1 and 2. And then as I've played it more, I've been enjoying it a lot more. Definitely not more than Dark Souls 1 and 2, but I've definitely been enjoying it more than I used to. I need to get the chunk from... Do I need to get the chunk? Maybe I don't. Give me 3. There's 2 from Sans. I need 7. But I got one from the lizard. What chunk am I not remembering? I got the 2 in New Londo. I think I do need to get the ones from the Black Knights. Because there's the 2 from the Black Knights, there's the 2 from the Giants. There's the 1 in Orlando, but I think there's one more that I'm not remembering. Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro are your most important coping mechanisms. I understand that. Dark Souls 1 was mine for a long time. Now it's become more like a job to me, which I'm perfectly happy with. But, I don't know. It's less of a coping mechanism for me because of that, but it is definitely still my cozy game for sure. Probably faster to just go through the Taurus demon at this point. Sekiro's fine. I just... If it doesn't click with you, if it's not your favorite game of all time the first time you play it, probably never gonna reach that status, you know? I think Sekiro is really good, but I think it's lack of variety really hurts it, for my personal enjoyment of the game at least. Bonk. I was not expecting that to instantly stagger. Really? Because of the shockwave, huh? That's doing a tiny bit of poison damage. That's funny. Very difficult Taurus demon fight. Dark Souls 1 is the only game that I've played up to New Game Plus 7. I did that on my very first character. I got to like New Game Plus 5. No, on my first character on PC. My first character that I played on Switch, I think I got to New Game Plus 3 and then got it on PC. Lies of Pi. I still need to start that game. I'll probably do that next week at the latest. I might try it this week though. Come on. Gonna sit up there forever? Hello? Do something, please. What's it doing? I know if I run up to it, it's gonna kill me. I have a very strong feeling that I'm not gonna particularly love Lies of P. Like, I'm gonna start it and it's gonna be like, yeah, it's okay. But I'm definitely not gonna fall in love with it like I did with any of the other games. No, you don't. You can definitely sit there and it'll come down eventually. Or, well, there are instances in which you can immediately go there and it won't. Or it will come down. Lunacid is very good. There are a lot of Souls-like games that I've played and I've, like, genuinely really, really loved. And have, like, I don't know, like, for instance, Steel Rising, I did a level 1 playthrough immediately after my first playthrough. Same thing with Thymesia. Thymesia is really, really... I love Thymesia. But the mechanics in Lies of P, I feel like I'm just not gonna fall in love with in the same way. Oh yeah, you definitely need memory to play Lunacid. Very difficult to remember where you're going if you don't remember where you're going. think I got all the achievements in Lunastead. I don't remember. I know it's not like either of them. That's the problem. They Steel Rising and Thymesia do the two sides of Souls combat that I adore. And then everything else is just like, it could be good. Hopefully. I'm sure the boar won't be the issue. If anything, it's going to be a random archer that shoots me while I'm trying to run away. Yeah, boar's now stuck. What chunks am I missing? It's like you need 7 to get to plus 10 or plus 15. Or plus 14, I guess. And there are the 2 from the giants. Am I losing my mind? I got one from the crystal lizard, which replaces the one from Inner Orlando. There are the 2 in New Londo. There are the 2 from the Black Knights, and then there are the 2 from the giants. So I should have 3. I should have 5. I mean, yeah. Okay, never mind. I'm going insane. Yeah. Thymesia is it's a very deflect heavy game, but I think it twists the mechanics of Sekiro to be a lot more interesting. Not more interesting than Sekiro, sorry, but more interesting than other games that use similar mechanics. So like instead of doing posture damage, you do, I think it's called wound damage or plague damage or something. And then as you parry, you build up damage that you can actually deal with your weapon, right? So it's if I've heard it described as if Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Sekiro had a child who was a plague doctor. So. Hello, Trashly, welcome. Yeah, Thymesia has a lot of like build stuff. You have plague weapons, which are like special attacks that you can equip. There's a lot of stats to go into and ways to define your build in interesting ways. Thymesia is really good. I should play Thymesia again. I feel like it's one of those games where like you play it for the first time and you're bad because it's your first time playing the game. It's like, okay, this is fine. I'm bad at the game because it's my first time playing it. And then you go play Sekiro again after beating Thymesia, and then you come back to Thymesia and it's like, oh, I should be good at this. This should be easy. And then you get obliterated because you're used to Sekiro instead. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. We'll go eventually. There it is. Run past. Everything's fine. No, I'm not an egg. I just had to pretend to be an egg. You know, boy moding. You know how it is. Boy moding after 2 years on HRT. 2.5 years on HRT. No, hasn't been long. I don't know how long it's been. I don't know. Boy modding after a lot of time on HRT and being out everyone publicly online. Those hollows are the most dangerous hollows. Actually, I would disagree, only because the random hollows in Firelink deciding to do jump attacks is also really dangerous if you don't know that it can happen. Or if you don't expect it to happen and you don't have your finger on the dodge button. Engaging straight in one fight. Yeah, the hollows jump attacks are interesting in this game. Okay. Try that time, I guess. I don't really have anything to level up besides vitality now, huh? I guess endurance if I end up wanting to use some semblance of armor. But I don't think that'll be necessary. I guess I could have grabbed the crush shield for 4 kings, but I don't think that's really necessary with this weapon. You know, it occurs to me now that I could have routed this so much better. But, you know, casual playthrough. And at this rate, I'll have to be by the time we get to the Iron Golem, so it'll work out for everyone. Yeah, I'm very lucky to be in a place where I don't have to be stealth at all. I also pass to most people. I'm sure I will set off a lot of people's gaydar if they have one, but I pass to most straight people in my experience. So on 2 fronts, I don't really need to worry about being stealth. Right on the Vamos run? You mean the Vamos hammer run? Actually, I guess I did do a cosplay for that run. Yes, but it's not gonna be a stream. It's gonna be a video, hopefully this week or next. I still have to write that entire script. I haven't started writing at all, so expect next week. Especially because it's all 3 blacksmith hammers in each new game cycle. Yes, I have done the Vamos run. Yeah, I don't have very many cute clothes right now. It's really annoying. I need to get more clothes. A lot of the cute clothes I had were actually... they were my ex's and I had to give them back. Unfortunately. I have a cardigan, a sweater dress, 2 sweater dresses actually, but my ex still has one of them, which is unfortunate. And then that's kind of it. I have a cute shirt. I have a skirt that I don't have anything to go with. Well, I couldn't have left because I wanted my sweater dress back. I gave them to well, I gave them to someone that we both know, and then that person that we both know is gonna get their clothes back because they live near where my ex lives currently, I think. So unfortunately they haven't done that yet, so I haven't got my dress back. I actually don't have any. I have a fun dress? No. I have a grandma dress. I don't know how else to describe it. It's a dress that my grandma gave me that looks very, very grandma. But I don't like wearing it just like a dress because I don't think it looks good on me. So I like wearing it as a skirt where I just like tie it around my waist. And it works really well as a long skirt and it's really cute. But I don't really have a top that goes really well with it right now. That is image. The main problem with skirts for me is chafing. Need to figure something out for that. Oh, I was hoping I'd hit Quaylag. I'm sure I could when she's bent over to do the explosion like that though. You know, in my first several playthroughs of this game, I always preferred heavier weapons. Just because, you know, big number funny. But over time, I think I've begun to appreciate the faster weapons more. Just because once you understand the bosses as well as I do, the faster weapons are just better for damage 99% of the time. Which is strange. It's very strange to go from preferring the slowest weapons in the game to a lot of the faster ones. Does the R2 do thrusting damage? It does. I had no idea. That's funny. I don't know how to take advantage of that, but that's really funny. Yeah, when I'm home, I usually wear sweats. I actually need to get new sweats because the ones that I have holes. But I'm absolutely not fighting Super Ornstein for the random occasional R2. That is not worth it at all. Especially because most of my R2s probably aren't going to be counter anyway. It, I might be able to get good counter damage on like a Sanctuary Guardian, so that'll be fun to test out. It's not a bit though. It's just annoying. It's not funny to get the Leo ring for like one attack through the entire run. Who said it's supposed to be a challenge? This isn't a challenge run. None of my streams are challenge runs. You should know this by now. One of these days I'll fight Ceaseless normally again. Super Ornstein is easier than Super Smo on your first playthrough. That was my exact experience. Super Smo is so much easier to dodge. Super Ornstein is easier to like not be in the way of in the first place, but those attacks are also like, or you get fewer opportunities to attack with Super Ornstein. But like in your first playthrough, yeah, that's absolutely way easier. But after that, once you like learn how to dodge and stuff, I mean, Super Smo is just way easier. Yeah, I can't wear tank tops or shorts either. I need clothes covering all of me at all times. Oh yeah, it's 6. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think a normal Ceaseless fight would have been that difficult. Yeah, I mean, I guess under that, all of my streams are challenge runs. And I beat Dark Souls while constantly flustered. Honestly, for me, it's just that I can't handle the feeling of the air on my skin. It's too irregular, so it's extremely overstimulating. As opposed to clothes, which have weight and a lot more regularity to how they lay on your skin. Can you define brutalizing? What does that mean? Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. I mentioned one thing about being flirty and then it happens. I mean, yeah, I like showing off, but I can't just like waltz around like that unless it's insanely hot and I can't handle wearing clothes. Boogalize. Verb. Boogalize. I actually need to shave today. I'm not looking forward to that. Oh. Have a good day or night, Failure. Thank you for being here while you could. Yeah, I mean, fully covered is comfier to me, but showing off is also fun. I have to run through all those hens again because I didn't grab the cage key. It's fine. It's just hens. Actually, I have health this time. Ah! Only problem is the cycles are going to be different from the first time I got here, so I'm going to have to actually, like, try when running up the stairs, but whatever. It's uncanny how this game's wonky at hive mind. Okay. I'm gonna pretend like I know what that means. I'm also gonna pretend that it's not very close to another word that YouTube would absolutely not like if I said. I usually put off shaving for long, or until it starts to like actually get itchy and uncomfortable for me to not shave. But I've gotten to the point where because of how much I shave, it actually gets really, really uncomfortable way sooner than it used to. So I just shave a lot more often than I used to. And good news, I do actually have to pee right now, so... I mean, it's just work for me, but I ignore it. I just can't ignore it when I start getting itchy. Actually, there are certain kinds of body hair that have over time become less dysphoric because of certain people convincing me. But well, it's not like I'm gonna be holding my pee for a couple hours. It's just gonna be like a few minutes while I build a giant and summon Darkus. It's too bad Darkus can't enter the fog wall on his own, so he could watch him from up here. Get a better vantage. Oh, I forgot. I need to actually grab the chunk. Upgrading to plus 15 isn't gonna matter until he gets Anne Orlando anyway, so... Another reason that I don't like summoning Tarkus is because I could be done with the fight by now. He's not the fastest. What? Okay. Maybe if I run over here, he'll actually aggro on the boss. What is he doing? Okay. Okay, I'll be right back. Marcus, my life is in your hands. I gotta go pee. The bathroom is occupied, unfortunately. What? Stop coming over to me! Whatever, I'll just let it happen. You know, the only reason the only reason Tarkus is strong is because the Iron Golem sucks at hitting anything. There you go. Good job. What are you doing, Tarkus? We don't have time for a battle strategy right now. Just beat him up. What? All right. Yeah, come on, hit him one more time. Hit him better, though. Oh my god. It's that easy, Darkness. Come on. Jesus. Yeah, that does make sense. Tarkus is slow and annoying. I don't understand. Like, it's fun to summon Tarkus. But, like... Really? That could have been over in, like, 2 or 3 whole pokes. Right now, we can go to get up plus 15. Unfortunately, Tarkus does not satisfy my ADHD. I do like that he came to ask for validation in the middle of the fight, though. That was pretty funny. Someone should clip the Tarkus fight. And then I can, like, upload it as a short or whatever. I guess I could also clip it myself, but that's a lot more work. There he goes. You know, I feel like I feel like people don't understand the value of mercy for characters in a world like this enough. It's like everyone gets mad when you kill Solaire when it's just mercy to kill him. Like, canon ending be damned, right? He survives and then suffers for a while, as opposed to you kill him, or he goes hollow and you kill him. I don't know. That goes for a lot of characters, though. I would say there are a couple exceptions. Like, I don't know, Lautrec is not a mercy kill. And then Siegmeyer. Meyer? Yeah, Siegmeyer is also, like, not really a mercy kill in my opinion, just because of how his story is. Maybe for... Oh yeah, I don't know. Siegmeyer always has the same outcome no matter what, so not really mercy. To be fair, I feel like Priscilla's happy medium has adjusted to living in the painted world her whole life, so if anything, I think Priscilla is the least mercy kill, but is definitely still a mercy kill. Okay, so to get roped into a pyramid scheme, I agree with this. I've never thought about it, but I agree with it completely. What the? Don't do that. Don't shield bash my barehanded parry. That was rude. I don't know, I feel like just because you would be unhappy with something doesn't mean that everyone would be. And then, like, basing your actions off of that feels, I don't know, myopic. Just because there are so many instances in real life of people who like something that other people don't like, you know? Like, actually, a lot of the examples that come to mind are not YouTube friendly. But, like, I don't know. Degeneracy is only degeneracy if you personally think it's degenerate, right? So, as an example. I could summon Solaire. I'm still human. I'm not going to, but I could. Alright. That's 15. Time to obliterate Ornsu and Smo. Yeah, like, I wouldn't kill Solaire IRL, just because, like, if Dark Souls was real, you know, there's a lot of convoluted mind gymnastics that I would have to say to get to the conclusion, but if Dark Souls was real, I would not kill Solaire. I mean, Patches and Lautrec have their own things going on, right? Petrus is just kind of a power-hungry creep. That's not really true of Patches or Lautrec. Oh, Creed. Oh yeah, I have way too much HP for that to matter. Forgot. Oops, Creed. Dark Souls is hard. Cis het Jeff. What does that mean? Who is Jeff? Also, the running attack instant staggers. That's awesome. Forest Demon 2.0. Wonder if he has the exact same amount of HP as Forest Demon. Or Boy's HP. You know what I mean. Boys. Here we go. So what you're saying is that you would be Patches, but instead of only killing clerics, you would kill everyone because we all go hollow eventually, instead of letting people live out their life and enjoying the most of it as they can. One of the fist bump. Long to clip. That's unfortunate. That's fine. I'll just clip it after the stream. I don't know. Actually, I probably won't download the whole stream just for that one clip. I'll probably just record it in OBS and edit it from there, but you know. Thank you for trying, though. Appreciate it. Oh, jeez. I think the justification for Patches having high faith despite being so aggressively against clerics is just that faith isn't faith in a god necessarily. It's just like faith in a cause of some sort. Which is why, like, well, I guess it doesn't really work. I was gonna say that's why the Blades of the Dark Moon use a high faith spell. But I guess that doesn't really work because Gwendolyn is a lord, which in the case of Dark Souls is relatively equivalent to a god. YouTube clips are 1 minute. They increase the short length, but not the clip length. That's so weird. Of the Guinevere music? Yeah, it's pretty good. I feel like I should use it in my videos more, just as like a punchy moment like I do with the Tower Knight music, but I don't know. There aren't many instances in which I would specifically want to use the Guinevere music. Jesus. Yeah, Patches has faith in himself and in his cause generally. He has a purpose that lasts, you know, the entirety of the age of, well, you know, through the entirety of Dark Souls, basically. I don't I don't think he made the illusion of his sister big because she meant a lot to him. I think he made her big because that was the most effective way to get undead to like trust her, right? So like she's big, she's comforting, she's, you know, he takes up your whole field of view with pillows and cushions and big boobs. And is very like she represents the statues more than she probably represents herself. I actually wrote a script about Gwendolyn and his story lore-wise. When was that? Like on Sunday. I'm hoping to get that video out probably this week if I don't have another video that I want to do. It's more of a lore justification for like what I posited as Gwendolyn's story in that video I made a while ago. But I also think it's a fun Gwendolyn story that I personally haven't heard. So I'm hoping that'll be interesting. I'm inordinately trusting of big women. I understand. Why are you over there? The robot games? That's really funny. Or intentionally. I like to think it was intentional, either way. Wouldn't be the only instance of incestuous relationships or thoughts in Dark Souls, so. I streamed most of my Dark Souls 3 playthrough the other day to someone who has not played Dark Souls. And I got to the Twin Princes, and she immediately understood the Twink Princess incest thing. It was really funny. You cannot tell me they're not fucking. I mean, there's basically... Oh my goodness, there's basically robots in there. They're robot-esque enough to be robots. Oops. Oh. I mean, that is why she's big. So the undead believe that she's powerful and, like, good, you know? I mean, like, aren't mechas just like robots with a human processor? 100% Ethereum. Not a doubt in my mind. Yeah, I agree with them not linking the flame because I wanted to be together. Aren't humans just mehas with the meat armor? I mean... Yeah, meat mecha. That was very scary. Almost got obliterated by the cat roll. I've definitely gotten hit by that a lot, just because I'm bad at rolling it. I'm very surprised that rolled it successfully. Alright, Krista, good luck with whatever it is you're doing. Yeah, I think Alvina is the same, like, species as the cats. They do look pretty freaky, especially the way their mouths, like, gape open when they're attacking you. I don't think I customized my character at all. Beyond the hair. I kind of forgot to do that. I usually press the random button until it looks okay. It depends on your definition of cute. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, Sif. This eats your stamina, though. Only problem with this weapon. Jesus. Rest in peace. Okay, before Four Kings, I'm actually gonna go pee now. I'll be right back. I have returned. Testing? Please? Okay. My microphone decides to work this time. Oh my goodness. Why is Sif so big? Because he's awesome? Lots of souls, I assume, something like that. Can't believe this. One of the easily flustered people? No! Where would you get that idea? The power of friendship. It's like Clifford, right? Isn't that what happened to Clifford? No, it was lots and lots of love. There's the love from Artorias that made Sif big. I think that's the lore. Don't reveal my secrets. Can't believe this. I'm being bullied on my own stream. I'll probably beat Four Kings one try. One try, it won't matter. I say as I'm about to go get obliterated by the Four Kings immediately. Having to remember to put that ring on is so weird at this point. Okay, so first of all, that's subjective. I don't think subjective things can necessarily be a secret in that way. But also no. The fact that I'm easily flustered and everyone takes advantage of it constantly, that's definitely a secret. Okay. First of all, I don't know why I did that. First of all, there is no connection between being flustered easily and being a bottom. Being a sub, yes, but not being a bottom. Different things. Yeah, I've died to just not putting the ring on so many times, especially recently because I had the thing that made it so that the ring was always active even when it wasn't equipped. Right. Let's see if I can do this first try. I need to finish my mod. I just hate going through every single weapon and balancing every single one individually. It's so frustrating. It's very tedious, I think is a better word. I think I need to upgrade my endurance. Well, I mean, that's all I can level at this point. Not another one. Oh. Probably shouldn't be greedy with my damage on the things. Ow. Eventually. As if it's not basically already happening. The next one will spawn eventually, I'm sure. There it is. Hey, I wasn't the only one, first of all. Secondly, how can you not already, you know? Sure, but only by coincidence. It's not that I need to find the balance for each of them, it's that I need to go into every single one in the files and manually adjust every single one of their values individually. It's tedious more than it is like the balancing that I need to find, you know? Don't worry, you're not obligated to join. As much as I'm sure they would appreciate it. I personally don't have qualms with certain people not joining in. I always hope the point of my community, I guess, that is built up around my channel is a safe space more than anything, right? Only do what you're comfortable with and all that. That's what I try to encourage and all that. I guess I can put on that. I don't know. I don't know what other ring I would put on right now. I do my best to encourage comfort and acceptance in my community. I don't know, I hate saying my community. Like, it is the community that has sprung up around me, right? I didn't build the community, it just happened to be here. So, I don't know. Saying my community feels... But, for this community, I try to encourage acceptance and comfort over anything else. Which is why I immediately ban bigots. Oh my goodness. I thought you said you didn't like flustering people you didn't know personally. Yeah, our community, that's better. I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I randomly decided to upload a Dark Souls video one day, and I happened to be trans, and I happened to get lucky with the YouTube algorithm, you know? So the community wouldn't exist without me, but it's not like this is a unique community by any means. And I feel like there would have been communities that would have sprung up in the same niches and whatever, regardless of whether or not I was here. As much as I am happy to be the one to have started it, you know, I definitely am not unique in that way. A very, very gay community, which is great. Couldn't have wished for anything better. Can't believe I used to think I was a straight guy. This community used to be a bunch of straight guys, and like, I don't know, there were non-straight guys too. It was always very like accepting, but it wasn't as queer. Gayest community you've been a part of? That's honestly kind of surprising. Isn't Beatrice just like dead after you beat the Four Kings? I think her going hollow isn't really... I mean, she doesn't hollow in the same way as other NPCs that you have to fight. But yeah, beating the Four Kings makes her corpse appear with her clothes. I've also never summoned her for the Four Kings. Doesn't she use magic? Wouldn't she be really ineffective against the Four Kings? Aren't the two bosses... the two bosses that she helps you fight both resistant to magic when she uses magic? I'm just surprised that this is the gayest community. I don't know. There are a lot of gay communities out there, you know? I am good at speech, I swear. You can't prove otherwise. Not like it's my entire job or anything. I changed my grip on my controller so I could hold it while taking a drink of water, and I almost obliterated Ingy on accident. That's good. I'm glad the vibes are sapphic. That's good. That's what I want. Yeah, but gay is like a catch-all term at this point. It is also a specific section of the queer community, but it is also widely used as a catch-all term for the queer community. In my experience, anyway. Also, queerest doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well as gayest, or more queer. You know, I was about to ask if I had placed the Lord Vessel, and then I remember that I fought the Four Kings specifically for that. Lesbianist. I mean, a lot of people here aren't necessarily lesbian either, though. A lot of bisexual people. I'm sure pansexual people as well. I don't know, it probably helps that most like queer communities I've been in have been mostly like women, trans women, non-binary people. So gay doesn't really work as like men who like men. What's the one-handed reset? Not helpful at all. What about? Okay, well. Can't even... Damn it, Kirk. Whatever, I'm not gonna die to the Demon Fire Sage. Probably. Most lesbianist. Every single asexual person I've met has been extremely cool, so... can confirm it is pretty great. Okay, no last words. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. It's fine. That was an extremely gritty attack, but I guess it's the fire save, that's fine. Bonk. Yeah, I feel like in communities that aren't primarily women, gay does mostly mean men liking men, as opposed to dislike meaning queer in general. But when you're not in a community with men, it's a lot easier to use gay as a shorthand than queer, I think. At least, you know, again, in my experience. See, I told you I wasn't gonna die to the Demon Fire Sage. I know what I'm doing. I have well over 1,000 hours in this game. Everything's fine. Yeah, I've definitely heard gay as queer in general a lot more than just men liking men. But you are also, like, a trans femme in trans femme community, so. Thank you, Lilith. Such a difficult boss. I'm so proud of myself for beating that one first try. It's not like this area has the easiest bosses in the game or anything after Quelaag. Okay. Suddenly. Hardest. Oh wait, no, that wasn't the grab attack, never mind. I genuinely don't understand how you think Centipede is the hardest boss in the game. Like, I understand that difficulty is very subjective with individual Dark Souls bosses, but like, did you see that? I don't think I rolled more than twice. And like, granted, I have good damage, but Nito is significantly harder if you don't have a decent amount of health. So if you're like doing like a glass cannon build, Nito is far, far harder. What am I doing? I need endurance. Four Kings are also really annoying sometimes when they spam the tracking magic and you have no health. I haven't found a run where Centipede is easier or harder than normal. I have had lots and lots and lots of runs where Nito and the Four Kings are far, far harder than normal. Menace is harder until you learn Menace, and then Menace becomes extremely easy. Oh yeah, but if you just put the ring on in the middle of the fight, it becomes incredibly easy, right? And even without it, I don't know, you can lure it to the starting platform super quickly by just standing in the corner like I did. Yeah, personally, I would call Calamite significantly harder as well. I think at this point in casual playthroughs, I think Calamite is the hardest boss, but in challenge runs and like soul level 1 or whatever, I would get that to Nito. There's not really any other boss that can take that mantle in any context. Centipede is a very slow boss that like doesn't move, it has huge legs, so it's very easy to hit very consistently with any weapon. It attacks very slowly, so you have the chance to get out a lot of attacks before it's able to attack. I don't know if that came through on stream, but my entire computer just lagged really bad. Oh, I just realized my game volume is really high. Can I be... Is it, like, annoyingly high? Can I be heard well? I think Scholar is just far, far better than Vanilla for Dark Souls 2. Okay, good to know. Thanks for the... I usually have my game volume way, way quieter. But that's good to know. I'll keep it higher. I'm glad that the voice came through like that. Anyway, I think Scholar is way, way better than Vanilla Dark Souls 2. Just because the enemy placement feels a lot more coherent, and there are a lot of areas in Vanilla that go completely unused, that feel like they should have stuff, and then they put stuff there in Scholar, right? A lot of the enemy placements make more sense lore-wise as well. But I don't know, I think the main thing, if anything, just for Shrine of Amana and the Dragon Shrine, like Vanilla or Scholar is just better. Just for those two, if nothing else. I love Dark Souls 2. As much as I'm terrible at it because it's the one that I played the least. Well, I've played it more than Dark Souls 3, but it's a longer game. Like, I played through it the least by far. I'm terrible at it, but I love it a lot. Despite my immense skill issue every time I play it. Yeah. Vanilla Dragon Shrine, I am not looking forward to. In the playthrough I'm doing for Dark Souls 2 for my channel, the Dragon Shrine is definitely the area that I am looking forward to the least. I need to finish that run, but I need to do Lies of P first. Fight Krista's Decree. Okay. Ring Lake Castle is full of constructs from a bunch of kingdoms, right? I don't think it's out of the ordinary for Vendrick to have had a constructed two-headed horse. Out of curiosity, what do you think? What things does Vanilla have on Scholar in your opinion? I genuinely can't think of anything off the top of my head. I bought Scholar first because it was $10. I was like, oh hey, Dark Souls, I know people like that game. So I bought Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin as my very first Dark Souls game. Played it once, despised it. Tried Dark Souls 1 because I heard that people liked it more. Went straight to the catacombs, gave up completely, and then like several months later I went back to Dark Souls 2 because I was like, people really like this. I must have been missing something. And then I ended up playing it for like 30 hours straight. Not literally straight, but I played it a lot. And fell in love with Dark Souls. And then I played a little bit of Dark Souls 3. And then went back, beat Dark Souls 1, then beat Dark Souls 2, then beat Dark Souls 3. So, Scholar of the First Sin will always have a place in my heart, just because it's what got me into Dark Souls in the first place. As much as I loved Dark Souls 1 more at the time, and still do. I was gonna go Nito, but Keith first. Hours gay, yeah. That's better. The few areas that I've actually heard that criticism in the most is like what's it called? Iron Keep. I know a lot of people really don't like Scholar Iron Keep, but I think that's one of the best levels in Scholar, especially how it changed from Vanilla. Personally, I really, really like Iron Keep in Scholar. I don't know, I can't really think of any areas that I would say specifically have too many enemies in Scholar. Oh, on the way to the horse boss, the Executioner's Chariot boss on the way there, the guys that jump down from the poles for the point in the game that they're at, definitely feel really annoying with how many of them there are. That is the one place that is like, ugh, that's really annoying. I've never understood the difficulty with the smelter run back, or the also, um, or the run back to. Well, I guess actually, Iron King doesn't really have a run back, but I don't know. I never understood the difficulty with the smelter run back. I've always been able to easily run past the enemies there without killing any of them. I don't know. Maybe I've just gotten lucky every single time I played that game. But it's just really not an issue I've ever had. The Flexile Sentry and Center's Rise. Honestly, I like the Flexile Sentry and Center's Rise more than the Weird Prisoner thing, because the Weird Prisoner thing I feel like belongs just a lot better in Aldia's. And suddenly seeing it in Center's Rise. Like, I guess it makes sense because it was a weird malformed thing that they locked away, but it's also locked away in Aldia's Keep. And I guess it was because it was collecting monsters from around the world, so not really seeing it anywhere other than Aldia's Keep is weird too. I don't know. I'm okay with the Flexile Sentry being in in Center's Rise. I don't really have a strong opinion on it, one way or the other, to be honest. But I do find the Flexile Sentry a lot more fun of a fight. So if anything, my bias comes from that. Never found the Iron King bonfire? Yeah, I didn't find it in my first playthrough, so I understand not liking Iron Keep specifically because of that one back. But I also had to do that in my first playthrough, and I don't know, I didn't hate it, but it is definitely worse than the Smelter run back. Especially because the old Iron Knights, like, in the tiny pathways. Yeah, I really like Flexile Sentry. I think it's a really good fight. Also, it looked really funny. Especially once you realize that the helmet isn't really a helmet, it's like a neck guard. I mean, if you go straight to the Wharf, I think the Wharf is one of the best levels in the game, including Flexile Sentry. I just think it's a lot better if you go there early, so you can actually experience the level below. That said, 99% of the time, even with like a +3, you're going to be obliterating the Flexile Sentry before the water rises at all, so I don't know. Wharf is easily my favorite game in Dark Souls 2. It perfectly exemplifies how you're supposed to play the game. If you don't pay attention, it fucking sucks. And that's what I love about it, because you have to play the game correctly. You have to pay attention, you have to look around, you have to defuse ring in there somewhere. You have to defuse ambushes before they happen. It's genuinely so much fun. Not liking Wharf is a skill issue. Saying it's a skill issue is a joke, but I do genuinely love the Wharf. I do think it's the best level in the game. Wait, come back. I don't know, I think you're just playing the game wrong. The suckers! Yippee. Early backstab for the fans. Bonk. You know, I'm kind of dreading next stream because it's going to be the Halberd. And I really don't like the Halberd's moveset. Which is why I wanted to use it, because I wanted to give it an actual chance, because I've never actually used it for any decent amount of time. But I'm also very worried that I'm going to despise it. I did know that. That's one of those things where, like, if you watch a lot of Dark Souls videos, you're very much gonna know. Early ab attack for the fans as well. It's one of those facts where it's like, oh my goodness, that one was an accident. If you know a lot about Dark Souls, you're gonna know that fact, but if you've only played Dark Souls once or twice, it's like, what? Why can you do that? Oh. Okay. Not a third one yet. Gotta have a little bit of restraint there. Both axolotl. Naked because I have ADHD and wasn't thinking about it. Oh, then you got a backstab on that one, unfortunately. And also because... Actually, I should heal. I'm not hollow. So, like, I'm not looking at beef jerky, so I don't really care. The thrusting attacks on the R1 for the halberd, I really don't like that part. That's the main thing I don't like about the halberd. That it has thrusting attacks specifically on the R1. I was expecting that to one-shot. Oh. The baby snake? Oh, the tiny one in the cutscene. I forgot about that. I don't know. I think it grows up. I think that's the only logical explanation. You know, I feel like I would like the Duke's Archives a lot more. If you didn't have to run all the way back up the tower. The Duke's Archives are probably my favorite of the four Lord areas, like level design wise, because I think the actual archives themselves are really great. But the prison tower, not super great beyond the Pasakas. Yeah, it's all squished up to fit the human skeleton because they animated the cutscene using like a human skeleton because I assume they reused the Liverpool animation from like the character or whatever or something like that. So they just squished the snake model to fit it. Have you read all of them? That's really impressive actually. That's a lot of books to read. I don't know. I feel like all of them feel finished. It's just that it doesn't feel like all of them are what they're entirely meant to be. Like, obviously, Izalith isn't what it's meant to be, right? Oh my god, Chandler's Trident. Like, obviously not all of them are exactly what they're meant to be, but... I don't know. I think all of them feel finished and, like, proper game levels. I would say I think all of them have points going for them. I think New Londo has the strongest atmosphere and is the best integrated with the rest of the game world. The Duke's Archives has the best like level design on its own, in terms of like how well it's interconnected and everything with the entire rest of the game, or like with itself rather. But it is very separate from the rest of the game. As much as you do need to go back to Inner Londo instead of just like going from Firelink like the rest of them, right? I think that the brain, I think Lost Izalith has like the most, not interesting gimmick, but the most fun gimmick. In a lot of ways, and I think that, hold on, what am I trying to say? I think the way it uses its bosses and turns them into gimmicks is really interesting. And I think it's also the most fun to explore because it feels so strange to explore and has really interesting atmosphere. And then I think the Tomb of the Giants is really good because you can go there super early, and in that way, I think it integrates with the rest of the world really interestingly. Especially when you don't know that you're not supposed to go down there. The Demon Ruins has that as well, but that's not really Lost Izalith, and it's a lot shorter. But it does integrate with Blighttown really well in that way, where like if you go down into the Demon Ruins right after beating Quelaag, it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. And then, yeah, and then the Tomb of the Giants has probably the most difficult gimmick to get your head around, but is also most mechanically interesting, as opposed to Lost Izalith, which I think has the most potential with the bosses themselves. I have done a Trident run, yes. Didn't burn down the apartment, I'm very proud of you. The Trident run... Actually, I was going to turn that into a video, but I never did, because I didn't want to... That was before I started putting chat on screen, and the main reason I put chat on screen now is so that I don't have to edit the chat messages into the video. So I never turned that into a video because I just didn't want to have to take screenshots of all the chat messages and put them in the video when I responded to them. That's genuinely the only reason I never turned that into a video. I guess I could... I don't know. There's probably something I could do to make that easier, but I don't know. Its time has kind of already passed anyway. Have a good night, Krista. Thank you for being here while you could, and I hope you sleep well. The Trident is one of your favorite weapons? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that. I'll do a... Can I actually do the dance animation? Okay. I'll do a Trident dance for the fans. I really wish that had a self buff. That would be a much more interesting weapon if I had a self buff. I wonder if I could do that in my mod. I'm sure I could. I can't imagine it would be that difficult to implement, right? I don't know. I'll figure it out. I would love the moveset a lot more if I didn't accidentally do the dance several times while trying to do jump attacks. The split damage also hurts it a lot in my opinion, but it is a very fun weapon. Uh-oh. Very interesting boss fight. Very fun boss fight. Definitely not the easiest and most boring boss fight in the game. That would be crazy. Seath is one of those bosses that like would be a lot more fun if there were other ways to beat it. Like, not... I don't know, if there were other things you could exploit to make it go by faster, I think that'd be a lot more interesting. Like, I think the Stray Demon is a really fun fight, specifically positioned where it is in the game, despite not being a particularly interesting fight, just because you can easily beat it with brute force, or you can, like, rely on bleed or whatever, or you can just find a decent slashing weapon, even without bleed, and do a lot more damage to it that way. So, in that way, I like Stray Demon a lot, even though it's not a particularly interesting fight. And I think Seath could have done something similar, but it just kind of doesn't. Like, if Seath was weak to bleed and had, like, an insane lightning resistance, so you could just pick up some gold Pinerson or whatever, I think that would make it a lot more interesting of a fight, because he doesn't have any insane weaknesses. Like, I think he is weak to lightning, but not dramatically. He's immune to bleed. I think he's immune to poison and toxic as well. And if he's not, it's just not good enough to warrant using anyway. So, I don't know, he's just kind of a boring fight, regardless of the moveset. Like, I feel like they try to do something like that with the curse, where you have to be careful to not get cursed, but it's so absurdly easy to just not get cursed, so it just doesn't matter. I don't know. Keith could have been a good fight, and then he wasn't, so very sad. I feel like they tried to go with gimmicks for all four of the lords, like 4 kings, obviously there's 4 of them. But then it just becomes a normal fight where you have to fight slightly quicker. They did the skeletons with Nito, so you can do divine damage, which I think was done really well. As opposed to 4 kings, where it's just a normal fight, but slightly faster. They did, obviously, Bed of Chaos is a gimmick in itself, which I enjoy fighting quite a bit. And then Theethus, I mean, they tried to do the curse, right? But I don't think that was super interesting. Obviously. I don't know. I feel like the speed of Poison and Toxic is really what makes them not interesting in Dark Souls 1. And then every single boss's insane resistance to bleed, outside of, like, the demons, makes it really not interesting to use. I think if more bosses had lower resistances to bleed, it would be a lot more interesting of a effect to use. And then if Poison and Toxic did did damage much faster, I think that would also be really interesting. And that I did actually try to capitalize on in my mod. I gave a lot more bosses bleed weaknesses, and I made Poison and Toxic do a lot more damage. Oh, I missed. But I don't know if it'll be enough to make people want to use them quite as much as I was hoping it would. Very difficult boss. I don't know, I do feel like a good would be an overstatement for status effects outside of bleed in specific scenarios in Elden Ring. Because, like, I don't know, bleed is fun in Dark Souls 3, but that was only because my damage was largely being carried by the Corvian Scythe, So, like, I was getting a lot of bleed, which was fun. But most of my damage was just coming from the attacks normally, regardless. Almost a start of centipedes even. True. Okay, I have to actually pay attention to the video game so I don't go running off a cliff this time. Ah. Like that. 1 second. The 1 second I look away from the game and glance at chat. God damn it. Well, now I gotta put on armor. I'm sure I have enough endurance to put on some of the gold hem set at least. I knew that was gonna happen. Happens every run. I went entirely deathless. From Sun's Fortress to here. And then I died to that, because of course I do. Eventually I'll actually try to do a deathless run, I'm sure. At some point that'll become a thing that I find interesting. I don't think I can wear the whole thing yet. No. Cool, perfect. Not a very... This is a very noob build, isn't it? Gold hem set with an ultra greatsword. That's how we like to play the game. I don't have the cross crest shield though, so it's not as bad as it could be. Or maybe not as good as it could be. And I'm also not wearing Havel's or Havel's ring, so again, not as terrible as it could be. I do have favor and protection only because I don't want to go out of the way to get the Chloranthy ring. I feel like I would wear the Chloranthy ring a lot more often if it was easier to get. Not even if it was easier to get, if it was just faster to get. Greatsword shield is extremely useful. I feel like it's the most useful shield if you're not using a shield as a shield. Because, like, what else do you have? Sanctus? I guess you have Blood Shield, but It's useful for a couple bosses. You know, Crest I think would definitely be the most useful. Unless you're not particularly great at parrying, in which case like Buckler or Parrying Dagger would probably be better. But once you understand the parry timing, that becomes kind of null. Oh my goodness, Nino, come on. I should have just pressed L1. One of the skeletons is just walking away. What's that guy doing? Oh, I was really hoping that would hit the skeleton. You hate Dark Souls parrying? It's probably my favorite parry system in any game, really. I don't know. I haven't really found a game with better parrying. I mean, deflecting, sure, but... I don't know. Need to, like, actually pay attention to the skeletons so I don't get obliterated by them while wailing on Nito. Just because I don't have poise. I think parrying is super fun to do in most games that have it. Especially because it's usually overpowered because it's supposed to be difficult, you know? Or not overpowered, but it's difficult, so it does a lot of damage. Risk reward kind of thing. And then it ends up being relatively easy once you get the hang of it. And it's just the best way to play a lot of games. Unfortunately, I think I am wearing the closest thing that this game has to Nito's cloak for the player. DLC time. I don't usually... Jesus, I don't usually mention this. But if you are enjoying the stream, I would super appreciate liking it. Just because it helps with, like, engagement and algorithm stuff. And, you know, subscriptions and stuff, obviously, too. If you are so inclined. You know, it feels weird to mention that kind of stuff, but also kind of necessary in a lot of ways to make progress on YouTube without just getting lucky and nothing else. Nito is fashionable. He has a very nice cloak. Thank you, sir. If only his cloak didn't completely block all damage for some reason. I never understood that, because it's very difficult to attack him from behind through his cloak. Like, I get that it's just his hitboxes and it's not actually his cloak, but it's very strange. His cloak is actually a portal to a pocket dimension, and so instead of hitting him, your sword just passes into a pocket dimension, I think is the issue there. Oh, Sanctuary Guardian is going to be like 2 seconds. That's unfortunate. The one thing that I really, really want to do with my mod that I haven't been able to, like the one thing that I wanted to change that inspired the entirety of the mod that I'm working on, is making the water in the Sanctuary Guardian arena make you walk slower. But I have no idea how to do that. I'm sure I could ask in the Soul Spawning Discord and someone would help me figure it out, but I haven't gotten the chance to do that quite yet. But that's like the one change that I really, really want to make that I haven't made yet. Just because I think it would make the fight a lot more interesting. Patented match improvement. Instead of fluff, it's bones, but yeah. Like a fluffy cat. He's a giant skeleton covered in bones, right? That's the... I'm pretty sure that's what he is. That's why it looks like a big skeleton ball. You know, I say that this is going to be a super fast fight, but I'm going to die to it. Oh my god. I feel like it would be more impressive to die with this kind of damage at this point. I love Sanctuary Guardian. Sanctuary Guardian is easily my favorite boss in the entire series. Probably favorite boss in the game ever. It flows super well, way better than Artorias. But it also has like the switch ups that Artorias doesn't have. The closest thing to a switch up Artorias has is the buff, and then he just like runs away, and then you hit him a couple times, as opposed to flying away and shooting lightning at you, and then running back in and doing a charge attack. It's so much more interesting. I highly disagree. That is the least Elden Ring boss that could ever possibly be in Elden Ring. Because of the downtimes after the attacks make it fit perfectly with Dark Souls. There are also a lot of opportunities to attack, like, you know, obviously in the speed of Dark Souls 1, that you have to, like, learn from experience as opposed to just being able to stand back and see. Okay, the double Sanctuary Guardian fight doesn't count. That's the worst fight in the series. I don't know if I would go that far, but it's pretty bad. It's like the double Pursuer fight. Like, one of my favorite fights in the game on its own. But when you put a second one in there, it just kind of breaks apart because it's not meant to be fought with more than one. The double Sanctuary Guardian fight, I think, would fit perfectly in Elden Ring. Okay, so your problem with Sanctuary Guardian can be entirely solved by not getting hit. I hope that helps. Most of the Sanctuary Guardian's attacks can be dodged completely by either rolling backwards or rolling sideways. A lot of them also just by walking backwards and figuring out the optimal way to dodge every attack, and then the optimal way to follow up on that dodge is what makes the Sanctuary Guardian so interesting to me. And even when you nail it, like, you still gotta pay attention and, like, notice when to use those specific things that you learned, right? As opposed to, I don't know, Artorias, where you roll to the side, attack, roll to the side, attack, roll forward, attack. I don't know. A lot less interesting in my opinion. And, like, there are a couple things like the jump attack where you can just where you can use a jump attack of your own and get a lot more damage or whatever. And then I feel like Manus epitomizes Dark Souls 1 turn-based combat in the same way. All bosses can be solved by not getting hit. I guess, but the Sanctuary Guardian does it more interestingly. Yeah, in the future, if you decide to do another Miracle playthrough, highly recommend using basically exclusively Emit Force, Wrath of the Gods, and Sunlight Blade. It's kind of the only miracles you need. And if not Sunlight Blade, then Blade of the Dark Moon, or whatever it's called. Dark Moon Blade. Oops, that was way too early. Oh. I want to do Calamite this one, just because I want to. We're definitely not going to reach 3 hours by the time I beat Menace, unless I embarrass myself. So, I want to fight Calamite this time. Come on. The weapon does feel like it should be longer. I don't know. I get why Tarkus whiffs so often now. Yeah, don't use infusions in Vanilla Dark Souls 1. That's probably your issue. Or Calamite? What do you mean? Oh, I'm going down to activate Calamite. You have to come down here and specifically make him fly back. Which can be done by getting that weapon, and then he'll fly and then blow fire all over the place, and I will activate Calamite. Oh, I see. Yeah, you have to insult him, and he gets mad at you. And then you can get off to shoot him down. It really does. It's unfortunate. I don't know. That's the other reason I wanted to make my mod because I like split damage as a concept. And I think it could be a lot more interesting if it was usable with more builds and also was just better. um, oh, that is one reason that I really want to get that done, because I just want to use split damage and have a reason to use split damage. And right now I just don't. If anything, my mod is more for myself than anything. I did want to make it permanently gravelorded, but I'm not exactly sure how to do that. Because the way that the perma-gravelord mods, other perma-gravelord mods work, is they replace the map files, and then every enemy that would normally only show up when you're gravelord, it just shows up anyway. Actually, it might set your world tendency. I'm not sure. I really need to figure out how to do that. I'll probably ask that in the Soul Spawning Discord when I ask how to... Oh my goodness. How to make the water in Sanctuary Guardians Arena. Only one hit? Okay. Complaining at this. When I figure out how to make the water in Sanctuary Guardians Arena make you slow. Okay, I am suffering from skill issue because I'm so used to fighting this guy with a Ghost Blade, which is way faster. Let me be better at the video game real quick. Oh my goodness. Everything's fine. I just wasn't expecting that kind of range for some reason. I don't know if this is a safe heal. I don't think it is. Okay. Well, it wasn't safe, but it worked. Oh, right, because the, like, ground slams shockwave. That happened with, why didn't it... What? I'm so confused. Maybe I just did a bunch of poise damage before he buffed last time and got lucky. I just expect it to go away by the time I hit him again because of how short his poise refill timer is. I don't know. I don't understand what just happened. It's fine. First try. Yeah, the main reason I don't ever fight Calamite in these... Artorias the poser. Artorias the he-him lesbian. The main reason I don't usually fight Calamite is because it takes so long to run down to him and then run all the way back up. And then run all the way back down after talking to the cop. But okay, it's fine this time. The Dark Souls 2 moveset is cooler, I will give you that. But I like the Sinner design of it in Dark Souls 1. And I feel like the Dark Souls 2 moveset wouldn't work super well in Dark Souls 1. Or it would just be, like, absurdly overpowered because of how the level design of this game is. One of the two. Oh, there's a different Greatsword in Remastered. It's the thick Greatsword. With 2 C's. I didn't know that. There are several Remastered runs I want to do eventually. Titanite Pebble is a big one. The Darkest Hands or whatever. The Four Kings Greatsword. Already done the gun run, obviously. I'll have to add that one to the list. The big Greatsword. The thick Greatsword. I don't know. I'll figure out a, a thumbnail eventually. Remastered is a Dark Souls mod. It's the Halo Dark Souls mod. The one that adds the Halo guns. If you just look up Halo and Dark Souls, you'll find it. It adds a ton of stuff. The Soul Vault spell is really funny, but I never got a build that was actually able to make good use of it, unfortunately. But the Scroll Ring is half as good. Makes you, or lets you skip like half of New Londo among other levels and get into really funky spots in other levels as well. Maybe I should do, if I ever do a follow-up, at this point I might as well. If/when I do a follow-up for Unremarkable and Odd Places in Dark Souls 1, I should definitely do it in Remaster so I can use the scroll ring and get to some funny places with that. If not, Soul Vault. My hardest part of the DLC has been conquered. Wonder if I'm gonna be able to beat Manus first try. I'll be disappointed in myself if I can't, but I also won't be surprised. Oh, it's gone. ADHD. I remember what I was gonna say. Probably. Eventually. How many sorcerers? I don't remember why. Oh yeah, somebody in the comments of the Ghostblade video, because I mentioned it was the rarest, said that the Ulasil Catalyst was rarer because it has a 0.5% drop chance as opposed to a 1% drop chance. But you see way more sorcerers, and I think you can see 8 if you explore Ulasil, as opposed to the 2 ghosts, and that makes the drop chance more than balance out. Way more common. Oh, the humanity. I hope you're able to sleep eventually, Krista. I got so many... I hesitate to say dumb comments, but I got a lot of comments that did not make sense on that video. So many people were like, oh, but the sniper crossbow is so much worse. When it has easily 800 AR if you know what you're doing. So like regardless of how slow the weapon is, 800 AR is insane. Got a lot of people saying that the whip was worse, which is just funny. Somebody even said that the cestus was worse, which is just like a normal weapon. I don't know. A lot of not people who didn't know what they were talking about in those comments. I don't know. There's a difference between being dumb and being ignorant, right? I like to give them the benefit of the doubt most of the time. So when somebody says the worst weapons are the whip and the cestus, you don't have to watch the video now. Like, I guess in that instance, I would call that dumb. Or a lot of people said the broken straight sword and the straight sword hilt, which is just not true. Like, that's just a good weapon if you know what you're doing. Oops, maybe not like good, but it's a very usable weapon if you know what you're doing. Like, it's just a spell sword carrier. Spell sword damage only carrier. Any weapon that can be buffed is immediately infinitely better than the Ghostblade. Oh god. YouTube, just so you know, I'm a benevolent creator. YouTube is telling me to insert an ad right now because a lot of people are watching the Manus boss fight. That's really rude, YouTube. I can't believe you would say that. People are watching a boss fight right now. It's like creators earn more money inserting ads the more viewers are watching. Okay, better ones. Creators earn more money inserting ads the more viewers are watching. Oh, it's saying more money because more viewers. Me when I'm not looking at the screen and instead reading an entirely different thing on my other monitor in the middle of a boss fight. I used to think Manus was the hardest boss in this game. Anyway. I am a benevolent creator. I will not insert an ad. Gonna wake up dusk, be a good Samaritan. deserves to have a nap. Yeah, but like, here? Krista, no, please. Wait, that's not what I meant. You need money. Keep money. Actively begging for people to stop giving me money. Waking up dusk is canonical. He doesn't remember you because waking her up gives her a concussion.
Farewell,
That's pretty funny.
yes.
You know, I usually skip this cutscene. What is the opinion of people in the chat right now on skipping this cutscene? Because I know a lot of people really like this cutscene, and most streamers will let it play out. I just never really considered it because I've seen the cutscene so many times. It's a nap in the abyss on like the stony floor, though. Okay, I will let the cutscene play out then. I mean, I'm out of water. I drank 40 ounces of water this stream, so unfortunately, I cannot take a drink right now. I feel like I think Goff is way cooler, only because instead of saying, yeah, I'll take out Calamite for you, he's like, yeah, I'll make it so you can take out Calamite. He has like so much faith and trust in you. And he's like, yeah, you're fucking awesome. Go kill that dragon. It's probably my favorite thing about Goff's character. Hey, he's Goff. Alright, I'm hoping I can beat Calamite first try. Not embarrass myself again, or not have another opportunity to embarrass myself, rather. Oh yeah, if you just like shot him in the head, he'd be dead. And instead he's like, no, you can do it. I believe in you. And Calamite is still considered one of the hardest bosses in the game by most people, even crippled. I'll do a great bow playthrough one of these days, I'm sure. It doesn't feel like it. Yeah, he could have taken out Calamite a long time ago. He was just waiting for you to come along. Oh wow, immediately hit on the very first attack, because it's the one attack that he never opens with. Also probably his hardest attack to dodge just because of the like specific area where he attacks. That is so much damage for Calamite. Oh my god. The last Calamite fight I did, I was doing I think 75 damage a hit. Calamite tastes like probably chicken. Also, hello, yeah, welcome. Well, it's old crippled Calamite with a arrow in his wing, but also, like, I don't know. He's definitely not weak by any means at this point. Lava chicken. Don't do that here. Yeah, but alligator tastes like chicken. God, I I feel so powerful. I'm doing so much damage to him. I don't know, I'm sure the arrow... It's Dark Souls. The arrow fades away. I was gonna say something like it fell out, but I think it's funnier to say it just faded away, because that's what happens in this game. That's not, like, for gameplay optimization purposes. That's literally what just happens. Projectiles just fade away out of existence over time. I should do an Obsidian Greatsword playthrough at some point as well. I mean, I will eventually do a playthrough with all the weapons, but... Alright, here we go. Good guy. Because they prepared it like chicken? I mean, I don't know. It's because chicken is like a very plain taste profile, right? That a lot of white meat has in the same way. Yellow meat seems like he'd be gamey. That's probably true. Back to my microphone. Okay, good. It's still working. You can watch the stream in bed. You have a phone. Huh? I don't think I've ever heard that sound effect from Cramp, actually. Okay, yeah, I still have the Hornet Ring on. I have a feeling this is going to be a very short fight. Yeah, he has a couple attacks from... Or he has a couple noises from when you attack him, but that is one that I've never heard. I also love that with the jumping and plunging attacks, he, like, scrunches. It's really funny. Dang. Oh, it's because I don't have much scaling, right? I only have 28 strength instead of the 40. I'm not doing as much damage as I could be. I guess I could put on the full set. Troubles up like it's cold. Ramp's mustache actually gets shorter when it's cold. They're Black Knights. They are sworn to protect Gwyn. I'm sure they're, like, not all there at this point. They're effectively hollow, right? But their duty in life was to protect Gwyn, so they're still doing it. That might be a little bit dry. Might want to mix it in with a drink or something. Wasn't there someone on like My Strange Addictions or something that would mix their late fiance's ashes into their drink or whatever? I don't know why I have such a vivid memory of that, or if that's just like something that I heard randomly on a YouTube video that was fake and just never left my brain. Just turned to gravy. Ash gravy, delicious. Yeah, because it's of, like, carbon, right? Okay, that makes sense that it would be green. Gwyn, how's it going? Sorry about this. My grandma used to watch My Strange Addictions all the time. That's actually not as much damage as I was expecting. Oop. Dang it. Oops. Come on. Get back in the groove. Stop it! Use another attack! Please. I got greedy. It's a Gwyn. I can't believe this. Hold on. You saw nothing? That didn't happen. Yeah, the fast attack isn't easy to parry. I saw Daedalus, and for some reason, my very first thought was the Nintendo 64 emulator for the Nintendo 3DS. That's where my brain goes. Alright, let's see what the two-handed riposte is actually like here. Better. Oh. I apologize for my hubris, Quinn. Hey, counter damage. You're not counter damage, but instability damage at least. There we go. I don't like Soul of Cinder because I don't like the fight, honestly. No, I could probably stun that Gwen, actually. I probably don't even need to parry him. You plan on my plan till I plan. Yeah. There we go. Okay, thoughts on the weapon. I'm gonna be honest. It's really underwhelming. Compared to like Dark Souls 2 Greatsword, obviously. Especially compared to what I was expecting out of it, having used it a little bit before. But I don't know. It's a very simple weapon, gets you through the game very easily. I'm sure it would easily carry you into New Game Plus if you leveled something other than health to 40. If you got like your faith up, and so just like, I don't know, 35, it would probably take you through new game cycles pretty easily. But oh. Yeah, it's a different model in this game compared to Dark Souls 2 and 3. I actually like how it looks more, but I also think that the moveset fits this game better than the Dark Souls 2 moveset fits Dark Souls 3. Anyway. It is underwhelming if you only parry it. But if you have a heavy weapon and do poise damage, it's also like very hilariously easy. Anyway, I guess that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I love you all, and I don't know how to end this.